I am Kesten Rono, and you are here for day 33 of our exploration of A Course in Miracles. How are you? Well, do you accept that you are the inventor of the world that you see around you? That you are a creator, at least in some sense? Perhaps you're already an artist, or perhaps you're recognizing your art out in the world. May that be okay. Dear Creator, we hear that all minds are connected. We hear that there is a possibility of identifying as our spirits, that this is some prerequisite for true sight. We hear that vision, as it is, does not require eyes, and that denying our body identification to bring the spirit into the center, where we may see a new order effortlessly, that this process may only bless, that there is no sacrifice in identifying with our spirit, in recognizing that we inspire miracles, that we are innately intertwined with this process of forgiveness, love, truth, and building in the name of truth. Creating a more abundant future. That future, of course, being lived by anyone with experience in the present. And so we can see how our bounty grows, that we are supported innately in our holiness, in our image of God, of you and your holiness. That this is not a fear or a threat, that we may be here with ease, and where we are not, we recognize we are practicing, trying on a new perspective by gently shifting our perception. Thank you for the opportunity to wake up to ourselves and our power through our experiences by releasing the power that we imagine has been possible through control. That we are on our way to perfect peace, perfect safety, and freedom of worry through this awakening by affirming our spirit, by announcing our determination, conviction, by recognizing that there is no coercion or oppression, depression, lest we believe it is there. That we are emphatically, humbly, and graciously declaring our independence, our mind sovereignty, our spirit sovereignty, and embracing the ideas that allow us to imagine for a truthful, loving existence beyond the time of our body, which feels limited, beyond the mindset that would encourage us to feel as though we are in a hurry, beyond our confusions and upsets, beyond attempting to leverage fear as if we will ever discover anything along that path other than the reverberations of fear. May we have some faith that this process of lovingness, of loving, of love, of breaking the cycle of attacks, joining in the natural chain of forgiveness on the way to atonement, on the way to salvation through ourselves, with our own physiological structure, with the admittance that there is an invisible, that we are innately intertwined with some idea of spirit, and that spirit is the life that blesses this vessel, that both are worth appreciating, that both are worth their nod, at least, if not their wild praise of such a perfect dance of experience. That where we believe we are limited, that it is just another gift of a beautiful lens of opportunities for feeling, of senses, that it is wonderful to move through space and time, to experience things in slow motion, and to heal by slowing down and noticing your word, our own thoughts, and less of all of the ideas that everything else, which we admit we create, but that all of these things that we imagine are external to us, all of the ideas that we have created, that we allow to take hold in us, that are incongruent with love. And as we settle into this unconditional love, this idea of truth, we accept that we may simply see right through the illusions with which we have been creating, that we have not known our best interests because we have not really had a chance to see from this spirit lens, that we have been giving shape to everything around us based off of our experiences and how we were told it is. But we see clues all across time where what we are told is not the truth. And thus, we are just simply curious about what the truth feels like and what it offers us. And we are told here, and we are possibly experiencing, I believe I am, greater levity, peace, and ease, a strengthening by feeling my way through my upsets, that I am losing nothing, nothing of meaning, nothing with true purpose, by relaxing the ideas that I think I know best. And I recognize that I think I am thinking at all is a wonderful, perplexing idea that says, what is beyond thinking, and what is beyond thinking I am thinking? Who is thinking? What am I? Where am I thinking from? What does my thinking do? How does it change me? And rather than simply looking at the physical manifestations of ease and dis-ease, possibly I recognize that there is a wonderful gift and beauty in believing in, trying on, and becoming this invisible, this sudden shift outside of my own self that allows for sovereignty and peace, that creates more ease, both in the invisible and this physical, that I am becoming something different, which is allowing me to see something different, which allows me to understand new shape and idea of everything that I think and everything that I think I see. And if I can see with more curiosity and I discover something that is in alignment with truth, then I accept this change. And I'm grateful for what I have experienced to offer me a shift in perspective, rather than feeling I must be shameful for not having noticed sooner, or that everyone else must notice the same thing at the same rate. Thank you for a spectrum, for those who are helping to lead a way, and those who are helping to support others along the journey. I am very curious how to heal, how to offer this beyond the idea of a spectacle. May I wake up to this idea? May truth be obvious to me, if only by pointing out how simple it is to see right through all of the ways that I have been tricking myself. May I recognize my holiness. May I appreciate the perfection of whatever it is that I am. May I discover my meaning, and may I discover what it feels like to join in awareness, a universal purpose. And may I be productive and grateful in my expansion through the lens of truth. I am Kesten Rono, and I am worthy, powerful, abundant, and complete, and my North Stars are abundance, truth, and love. I am on a path of love, and its destination is perfect peace, perfect safety, and freedom from worry. That I am sovereign in my mind, in my spirit, and the limitations or excitements in any direction that I notice are my own creation, for my own experience, for my own discovery. And with this power to charge my thoughts and therefore charge my experiences, I choose love. Principle 33. Miracles honor you because you are lovable. Miracles honor you because you are lovable. The source of miracles is love. Their expression is love. All love is expressed maximally. I inspire all miracles. Miracles praise God through me. A miracle is a universal blessing from God through me to all of my brothers. Miracles honor you because you are lovable. They dispel illusions about yourself and perceive the light in you. So there is a light in me. Miracles cast away illusions. Miracles perceive the light in you. This is an interesting statement, that there is a perspective of the miracle itself, that it has an opportunity to perceive, that it has an action it can take, that it honors me, that they heal. They also enable me to heal the sick and raise the dead, because I made sickness and death myself. Grasping the full nature of miracles is still mysterious, and that is very exciting. Miracles honor me because I am lovable. They dispel illusions about me and perceive the light in me. Light. We were told that as we get closer to true sight, we will begin to notice light around the edges of the objects that we are giving meaning to, shape to. That somehow everything has meaning because it is created in perfection by God, and that everything with meaning has purpose, and that everything we see internally, externally is all in our imagination as we are spirits viewing some experience. That the lens that we've been wearing, these glasses over the spirit, have dimmed things. And we've discovered darkness, and we've been playing in here with these illusions. Miracles dispel illusions about myself. whatever it is that I believe that I am. And if I believe I know what I am without knowing what I am, then it will be challenging to know what is in my best interest. And if I do not know what is in my best interest, because I do not even know what the things around me are, let alone myself, then setting a goal about what I want is just playing in a sandbox of illusions. That on the quest to this goal, I will be looking for accomplishment and meaning, but I will find no meaning in building with meaningless things, that I am purposeless. I don't know if you felt this way, but I've definitely been curious about what my purpose is. I feel that I've been given many blessings, whether or not I could recognize them as they've been available to me. But innately, I have felt that given enough time, I believe I could do anything. And I would find myself paralyzed by the idea of, well, if I could do anything, what am I supposed to be doing? A few decades later, here I am reading a book to myself on the internet. But this quest feels the most stretching of any idea anyone has ever offered me to see. Miracles honor me because I am lovable. They dispel illusions about myself and perceive the light in me. They thus atone for my errors by freeing me from my nightmares. Okay? Miracles are part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which, when completed, is the atonement. Atonement works all the time and in all the dimensions of time. Here we are hearing miracles atone for your errors by freeing you from your nightmares. Nightmares. This idea that darkness exists, that it can hide, that it can haunt us. Miracles are healing, allowing us to heal the sick and raise the dead, because they ask us to recognize that we made sickness and death ourselves. When we can recognize that we are the creators, we cannot be the victims, lest we recognize we are the victims of our own creations, which we could fix, which we could heal. If we do not want to accept that we are the creator of everything around us, then we are powerless to change it, and we are living in the effect while we have access to the cause itself, which is to consider our own thoughts, that we can change the world. So we can heal sickness and death. We can abolish both. You are a miracle, I remind you, capable of creating in the likeness of your creator. Everything else is your own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. That was from day 24. Everything else beyond what we choose to create, everything is our own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. That creations in darkness are just illusions. They feel real, but it's a trick. Creations of light are real. And we're learning today, miracles dispel illusions about yourself, nightmares about ourselves, depression, shame, worry, anger, guilt, fear, and perceive the light in you. We have light in us. There should be light around everything that we see because it's full of light. Only the creations of light are real. Miracles thus atone for your errors. Here we're hearing about some idea of forgiveness for our sins, but our errors, that's where we have made a mistake, where we did not know better, or we had been in a hurry and been short-sighted. They're errors. Miracles allow us to atone for our errors. Miracles are part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, which, when completed, is the atonement. Atonement. works all the time and in all the dimensions of time. This is freedom from fear. Atoning means undoing, okay? The undoing of fear is an essential part of the atonement value of miracles. So miracles have values. These are old lessons here that we've gone over in the past. Miracles have values. One of the values of miracles is atonement. One of its essential parts is the undoing of fear. Atoning means undoing. So miracles represent freedom from fear. Atonement is undoing. Today we are hearing miracles thus atone for your errors. They undo our errors by freeing us from our nightmares. What are our nightmares? Our nightmares exist when we do not believe that we are miracles ourselves, that we are capable of creating in the likeness of our Creator. Living without that is a nightmare. We are victim to everything, and we will be preyed upon by people who are looking for victims to further their own sickness. So let's undo our fears, our nightmares. Simple undoing. Miracles are the representation of freedom from fear. And undoing, atonement, works all the time and in all dimensions of time. We can always release whatever fear of illusion we have, no matter where we are, no matter what we are. This is our sovereign right, imbued into us through the power of thought, which is invisible, which allows us to heal or to cause death and suffering. By releasing your mind from the imprisonment of your illusions, they, miracles, restore your sanity. We are insane, even if we can't see it, living inside a world of illusions, characterized by fear as the underlying gravity. I'm reminded of a scene in The Matrix when Neo and Morpheus load in to practice some of the martial arts Neo's been learning. And Morpheus beats him initially and asks him how he beat him. Neo says back, "Because you are faster, stronger." And Morpheus says, "Do you believe that my being stronger or my being faster has anything to do with my muscles in this place? Do you believe that is air you are breathing right now?" By releasing your mind, in this scene right after where Morpheus is attempting to tell Neo to wake up by realizing that he is stronger and faster than he believes that he is, that he's put his own cap on his own mind because he's been living inside of some kind of matrix that has set certain rules for him that just do not apply if you understand the system that you're in, as he discovers a truth about himself and a faith in his physiological self, that Neo in particular is able to dream even further of his power and worth and his capability. We don't need to fight here. But the very next scene is loading the jump program. And Morpheus looks at Neo at the top of a building and he says, "You have to let it all go. Free your mind." And then he jumps from one building to another building across a large street. By releasing your mind from the imprisonment of your illusions, miracles restore your sanity. We are insane, believing that we need to exist in a world based off of fear. We are insane, believing that we do not have a divine power about us to heal and feel. We are insane if we give no credence to whatever it is to have a spirit or a soul, whatever life is, beyond just electrical impulses in your brain. That what we are is wildly complex and beautiful, and that if we are treating ourselves in a natural way, eating seasonally, local, whole, organic foods, nutrient dense, real foods from the climate where we grow ourselves, so they grow around us, non-processed foods, not falling for tricks of things in boxes with marketing. It's just not possible that these things combined can be greater than the individual ingredient itself. And when we treat ourselves well in a natural way, we are naturally taken care of. We are naturally in ease without dis-ease. Our bones, our teeth, our cells, our hormones are well functioning when we can honor these principles of light and darkness. We are calmer with the proper sex hormones in the right ranges. How do we get them in the right ranges? Is it about measuring everything? No. It's about returning to a way that we were naturally designed to exist, to thrive. We need not just survive in fear, we may thrive. And we thrive by recognizing what we are naturally, how we have been created, and accepting, even if it feels a long way away, just little by little, accepting the responsibility that we have at minimum a tiny bit of influence over our epigenetic health, that we are helping to affect the environment in which we grow and turn over cells, that our thoughts can do this, that the food that we put inside of our home can do this, that the chemicals that we choose not to breathe and put on our skin and absorb can do this, and that we can offer this love and this fullness to our friends and family and acquaintances and passersby. And right here, we can see the wave that we are creating and the wake that is left behind, not one of destruction, but something else playful. And this can start a ripple, part of an interlocking chain of forgiveness, allowing us an undoing of the way we have been. It's okay. Miracles honor you because you are lovable. If you're made in the creation of God and you're made of love, you are lovable. You exist. You are of light. You're not meant to fade into non-existence in the darkness, and darkness cannot hide. Those are nightmares. Only the creations of light are real. Miracles dispel illusions about yourself and perceive the light in you. They thus atone for your errors by freeing you from your nightmares. By releasing your mind from the imprisonment of your illusions, they restore your sanity. You are losing nothing, sacrificing nothing, even though it feels like you are sacrificing everything to see. True vision may only bless. May you feel blessed. Lesson 33. There is another way of looking at the world. This feels familiar. There is another way of looking at the world. Today's idea is an attempt to recognize that you can shift your perception of the world in both its outer and inner aspects. Okay? Yesterday we were doing, and the day before, meditations with our eyes open and our eyes closed, attempting to relax into an idea that what is visually what we're seeing is no different than what we are imagining we are seeing. And whatever this transition is with our eyes closed, as if that's really turning off sight, it's not. But therefore, everything we are experiencing, whether we can touch it or taste it or not, or we can imagine what it might feel like or taste like, everything we are experiencing is our imagination, possibly a far-reaching concept, but everything inside is the same as everything outside. There is no within or without, strictly speaking. Everything is. And there is another way of looking at the world. We are going to shift our perception of the world in both its outer and inner aspects, which we have already established may be the same, that our thoughts are causes and what we experience are the effects, that this happens simultaneously, that somehow cause and effect, mind to matter, are very intimately linked, and that this inner and outer world must also be intrinsically linked if we are moving from an idea of imagination and thought to a quote-unquote real experience, which we think is real because we can run into the walls of it and fall down and get hurt. A full 5 minutes should be devoted to the morning and evening applications. All right, 2 specific applications, 5 minutes each, not 3. Let's go. In these practice periods, the idea should be repeated as often as you can find it comfortable, though unhurried applications are essential. Wow, so many reminders not to hurry. That's something about attempting to speed up our experience in time as if we could ever lose it. Something about this process causes us discomfort, causes us dis-ease. We are the creators of suffering and death. So one way to go the other way, to atone, to undo, is to not hurry. That hurry is a state of mind. That even if you could run every red light and get around every car and you could get there on time, you do not know what you were in a hurry for. You cannot guarantee that you weren't coming to some other extreme accident even faster, or at all, that you would have missed if you just simply waited. And even if you are on time and everything went your way, what lesson did you learn? To replicate hurry everywhere you go? Will that serve you? Hurry is a state of mind, and we need not introduce it as we are attempting to undo the way we have been seeing the world. So if we have been moving quickly, may we slow down. And if we have been moving slowly, may we still slow down. There is no hurry. We want to repeat this idea as often as we find it comfortable. So the idea, there is another way of looking at the world. Please repeat after me. There is another way of looking at the world. Now say it with me. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. Alternate between surveying your outer and inner perceptions, but without an abrupt sense of shifting. Open your eyes, close your eyes, repeat this mantra. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. For 5 minutes. Merely glance casually around the world you perceive as outside yourself. Then close your eyes and survey your inner thoughts with equal casualness. Try to remain equally uninvolved in both. and to maintain this detachment as you repeat the idea throughout the day. Casual attire. We're showing up to chill. It's using words like detachment and uninvolved. I give those gut reaction negative ideas. I don't really want to detach or be uninvolved, but I'm on my way to seeing, and that requires nothingness. And I know that I cannot be stolen from on the process of slowing down. So maybe I can release my negative charges on these ideas so that the experience I have need not be colored that way. So I will commit to slowing down, breathing, being very casual. This is a casual party. And I will allow myself to say, eyes open and closed, there is another way of looking at the world. I am committed to being equally uninvolved and maintaining this detachment as I repeat this idea throughout today. The shorter exercise periods should be as frequent as possible. Specific applications of today's idea should also be made immediately when any situation arises which tempts you to become disturbed. For these applications, say, there is another way of looking at this. Cut off on the road driving. There is another way of looking at this. Surprise piece of mail. There is another way of looking at this. Turn on the news. There is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at this. There is another way of looking at the world. Remember to apply today's idea the instant you are aware of distress. Sudden shift to the invisible. We apply our reframing. There is another way of looking at this. It may be necessary to take a minute or so to sit quietly and repeat the idea to yourself several times. Closing your eyes will probably help in this form of application. Separating ourselves insofar that it is possible at all from what we're seeing, what we're image making, so that we can tune out at least one of the senses and pretend that now we are finally imagining, and in this space that we can relax, even though it's the same space as with our eyes open. Because we have fewer inputs, we think, it's calmer here. If it's true that fewer inputs is calmer, I don't know how a spirit perceives, but it feels like it needs a body to feel how we feel. So perhaps it is calmer there, where we are perfect, where we are celebrating ourselves as miracles, these creations of God, that we are a process, a cause and effect, a teaching tool for ourselves and maybe for others. That we may relax with our eyes closed when we find ourselves distressed, if we have the opportunity. And maybe within 2 minutes of saying, there is another way of looking at this. Perhaps we may find some ease, even if we do not understand yet the other way of going about whatever it is that has troubled us. May we invite simply the feeling of ease by understanding that there is another way of looking at this. We can take any debate topic and realize that there are at least two ways of looking at this. We could zoom in on something and realize there are many nuances that make it challenging to have a binary right answer. And what would be right? Well, praxeology suggests that value is in the eye of the doer, that we are taking action towards what we believe is valuable, investing our life savings on ventures that we believe will net us some benefit. And there are lots of ways today that would appear that we could spend our life to receive a air quotes money and then gamble that money to hope for a future savings so that we might survive. These do not feel like real investments. They feel like attempting to survive because everything is fearful. Where is the lens of, wow, I am so hopeful and grateful. Everything is so abundant. How would such a state exist? I don't know, we could say, though I feel I have some ideas. But one thing is for certain, that if I can feel my distresses, well, I can undo them and imagine a world that doesn't have those, even if I don't know how to get there. And if that world is void of those stresses, I've undone them, then it is free of worry. And even if I do not know exactly what that looks like when I zoom in tightly, I can attempt to feel the idea of what it is like to be free from worry. What is perfect peace and perfect safety? Well, something different than whatever I have known. So I can dream differently. There is another way of seeing this. So may we find some levity, calm, opportunity to feel differently in this 2-minute practice periods that we may have to do if we find ourselves distressed. If we find ourselves distressed, we want to instantly apply today's idea whenever it is that we find ourselves noticing finally that we've been stressing out, or there's an acute occasion that, well, surely today's idea doesn't apply, right? Yeah, all this is great, but you want it to apply to this? Do you see how bad this is? I think that's the whole idea, that we all have an idea of how bad something is. Some of them are overlapping, but the same idea looks great or awful if you are on extreme spectrums of a political identification. But here we are denying those and affirming our spirit identification. And there we believe that probably far more than binary, once we can see that there is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at the world. There is another way of looking at this. I've been curious about this idea in my mind called, or calling itself, the other way. And I will write about it. And for now, I will be curious about it. I am Kesten Rono, and I encourage you to consider with me that there is another way of looking at the world. May you try it on and maybe see me differently tomorrow for day 34 of our exploration of A Course in Miracles. Be well.